piece you talked about Stuart's departure and how that part of the club has evolved. Obviously, Florent arrived as director of football in the summer. Is he already taking some of those responsibilities on, and have you started planning for January? Are you confident this will impact that?
You might speak with him. I'm sure he can explain the process. So I think the journey of the club requires an evolution, because we started the club started in Premier League 8 years ago, then had a long period in the third and the second division. So the strength of this structure is always different according to the money you can spend, the people you can have, and so on. So now the ambition in the Premier League is really high, and you have to build this recruitment structure according to your ambition and the level of the Premier League. So it's obvious that we needed to evolve, and so it's not a question of person, it's a question of organization. And I think Florent and Christian are working together to find the best setup as possible.
You mentioned there that you hope for more might be able down Saturday. Do you feel that if he isn't, that you talked about Daniel and that period of adjustment, do you feel he's ready if needed, and because he was one of the players to get some minutes as well?
Yeah, he works hard, and I think if we need him, he will be ready, and showed it against Livingston. So it's just a question of time and opportunities. So it's one option. Yeah.
Just reflecting briefly on the Man United game. Obviously, you had to bring Simon off in the first half, and I doubt you've had a chance to speak to him since you've got off on international duty. But how do you kind of reflect on that and on Simon's time so far? Because I imagine he's probably a little bit frustrated that you haven't really had a chance.
Yes, of course. It wasn't just a problem of one player. It was a collective problem on our left side. So to fix the problem in real time, it's not. We can't create like a break and to have the opportunity to speak with the players and change the tactics. It's not possible. So the best option at that minute was to change the structure, and it wasn't to change the structure. We have to sub someone, and my choice was to change Ballard for Simon, and we used a 5-4-1 structure, 3-4-3, to match the Manchester United structure, and it was a way to solve the problem, and it worked well, even if the scenario was a bit different because we were 2-0 down, and it wasn't the same game, but at least tactically the problem was fixed, and the choice was to change the structure.
How did you reflect on that? Did you feel you were a little bit too attacking early on? You mentioned that.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated problem, because we are learning from this experience. It's we have players available, we have a new opponent. So it worked well against Nottingham Forest with more or less the same structure, but it wasn't efficient against Manchester United for different reasons. So now I think we analyzed in depth this experience, and will be better after, I'm sure. I think if we had to play this game again with this experience, probably this problem should have been fixed earlier, without changing the structure. Yeah.
Can I just check on some of the players we haven't really seen yet, Regis? So Dennis, Adji, Leo. How are the three of them in particular? Where are they at in terms of availability, training, injury?
Adji it's not on the pitch right now. Leo is really close. So should be available for training with the team in 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And Dennis started to train again with the under-21s after a long period of rest. Yeah. So now he should be close to the squad, maybe in 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah.
And Habib, in terms of his recovery, is that on track? Is everything going okay with that?
Yeah, will be the beginning of December, mid-December, so this period. Yeah.
And we've obviously, we've talked a lot about Robin in goal and how much of an impact he's made and how excellent he's been. Anthony obviously was a big player last season, hasn't had a chance yet. If you're an outfield player, you probably feel like you've got more chance of coming on as a sub in a game, whatever. Goalkeeper's clearly very different. How has he been, and have you felt the need to have individual talks with him just to kind of, keep him integrated in everything?
Yeah, the goalkeeper's position is a bit different.
Yeah.
It's probably the case for the centre backs as well.
Yeah.
You need an injury
Yeah.
to come back in the game. But for the other positions, you can sub easily. So for Anthony, yes, I think the hierarchy at the minute is really clear, and I think it's important.
Yeah.
Like for a striker, for example, so you can struggle, but you know that you will be supported even if you make mistakes. And this position as a number 2 is a bit different, but I think he remains really positive. So he played a lot last season and the season before, so his role is now a bit different, but he can learn. And the goalkeeper's life is a bit longer,
Yeah.
so you have time. You can enjoy a new situation, learn behind a really strong goalkeeper with different qualities. So if Robin is better in one area, maybe you can help Pato to become better, and later in his career, maybe this season, because we don't know what will happen, he will be ready to be competitive.
And when we look at the business the club did in the summer, all the transfer business, I think when we spoke to you at the end of the season, and certainly when we spoke to Christian, you both kind of said in the summer, you're going to need different things for the Premier League. It's a different league, there's going to be different things. Clearly the technical ability of the players was really important, but what I'm interested in is, you seem to have signed a lot of physicality, a lot of athletic players, tall players, strong players. How much of that came into your thinking that you needed to add that for the Premier League?
Yeah, the Premier League is really demanding from a physical perspective. So now with the data, videos, you can assess really deeply a player, and you can say, I want to check this quality, this quality, this quality. Otherwise, the player is not in my radar.
Right.
Okay, so we worked like that,
Yeah.
and keeping the same mentality about the ability to connect with teammates, with the squad, the identity of the club. Probably many young players as well, because we believe that it's one strength of this club, and we balance with experience, like Granit, for example. So far it works well.
And what is the difference between the Championship and the Premier League in terms of, I mean, presumably the game's quicker, players cover more distance, more physical challenges. I mean, what is the key difference, do you think, between those two leagues?
It's a bit early, probably, to summarize something, because probably at half of the season we'll have something different in our mind.
Do you see big differences in the numbers, though, when you're talking about those numbers?
I think the quality, the overall quality is so different. Because the gap is really massive, and probably it's less chaotic in this league because of the quality. The way you control the ball allows you to be more organized with the ball, more stable, even if we have transitions, obviously. But the teams are probably really well organized on, how they can hurt you, so you can understand their patterns, but they do it so well. Sometimes you can't manage a situation, even if you know that they will use this pattern. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, Readers. You seem to have, in most games, managed the balance between being extremely cautious and being quite aggressive and taking risks, and it's paid off. how difficult is it to get that balance, that sort of edge?
The Manchester game shows that it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah, it's really important, I think, to be consistent out of possession, because it gives you the confidence to work with the ball. If and it was the case during 20 minutes in Manchester United, you are fragile out of possession. The opponent gets confidence, creates chances, and with the ball we become a bit more fragile as well. So it's really a question of balance, I agree. And the problems are always different. So for example, against Nottingham Forest, they built the game with short passes, but against Manchester United they went direct. So we tried to press, being aggressive. They went long. Our block was a bit more open than usual, and they were able to build after the regain. So it was 50-50, the numbers at the end. So long balls, 50% of the balls we were able to regain the possession, and 50% of the balls they were able to build up behind our midfielders. So it's really dangerous. So it was a bit different. So we tried to be aggressive, but we were just on the edge to manage the second ball. So we have to improve this part next week, because we won't have many training sessions this week.
And how hard is it to work on the sort of triggers of when to press and to press as a team? And how much work does that take in training? Because it must take a massive.
I think we use more or less the same triggers every day and against every teams, but the opponents have different patterns and structure as well. So we just have to adapt depending on their structure, but we try to implement the same ideas against every team, is it away or at home. Yeah.
And physically, I mean, we're talking about compared to the championship, do you sort of have to manage the team's the sort of physical output in the games? That's important, because you can't sort of press and be high tempo all the time, or you just burn out. I mean, is that harder to manage in the Premier League?
Yeah, I think that after that, the other question is the way you can control the ball with the game with the ball, because when you have the ball, you don't have to defend. So the opponent is running. So I think we improved this part. If we compare with last season, I think now we have more ability to have the ball and to keep it under pressure, to build up in our own half. After that, the question of creating chances is a bit different, but we have a better control with the ball now. Yeah.
Just on the international breaks, how difficult is it as a manager? Because I imagine you've got to try and integrate back in injured players coming back into the squad. So you've got players like Brian, who hasn't necessarily played a lot of football, but then also, come up with a game plan for Wolves. You played Livingston as well. How do you go about assessing that? Do you have sort of the similar plan for every break, or do you just sort of approach them as they come along?
Yeah, we built like an experience from last season with many different options. So we try to improve the efficiency of this process. So it's not easy with the players with their national teams, because they are more or less disconnected. So we still have messages, but they are living a different story at that minute. But for the others, I think it's interesting, because it's a new experience with them. We have more time to discuss, to share experiences, to build new objectives and so on. So we try to take advantage of the situation.
Just with someone like Brian in particular,
yeah.
He's obviously played in the high level Champions League, etc., European football. When someone signs like that so late on, do you have a timeline in mind of when you'll be up to speed, or when do you have games in mind when you think you're going to be given the opportunity? I'm not expecting you to name them, but do you have a rough idea?
Yeah, I think the main point is to find easy in a better place day after day, and I think he's getting better. So he connected with the squad late, and it's not the best situation, because we built something during the pre-season, and when you join the team later, it's not so easy to connect with the squad, but he's a good guy, like Lucha as well. They went or Bertrand, and we feel during the training sessions and that his level is getting better. He played a different style of football with Ajax, so they were dominant. The level of the league was probably a bit different as well, or the style of play. So he's learning and he's really positive. So I'm confident. So and I trust him. He can help the team. After that, it's a question of momentum. I think our strikers are doing well. Like we had the conversation for our centre backs, so it's more or less the same situation.
Sunderland Wolves doesn't sound as big a game as Manchester United or Chelsea coming on. But actually, because of the damage that you could do to each other, it doesn't feel like a bigger game in a way, even though it's this early in the season. And if you agree, is that your message to the dressing room?
Yeah, I think I don't need to give a specific message. I think our players, our squad are aware of the situation. It's so hard to win points in that league. You have to respect everyone. So this game is really important at home, especially, and when we play another opponent, we'll have the same mindset. And after a defeat, we want to react. We want to win points, so we'll give the maximum.
When you look back at last season, were there games that seemed more important to you than they were on paper to the rest of us?
Yeah, it's not really my mindset. I think every week we have an opportunity to win points. And you win points against Chelsea or Wolves, it's still 3 points or 1 point. So the value is the same. But you don't know the scenario, you don't know how the game will evolve because it's still unpredictable. Just do your best to play the best game. Yeah.
But the value isn't always the same, because if you beat Wolves, that has a higher value than beating Chelsea, for example, because Chelsea aren't going to be relegated.
Yeah, sure, but it's still the beginning of the league, so we have time, and the dynamic can change. So for the main focus is us. So when you win 3 points, it's 3 points.
Yeah. But some are bigger than others. Like Middlesbrough away, was that bigger for you than other results last season? Were there games that mattered more?
For me, not really. For me, not really, because we have our objective at the end of the season. We need 40, 42, 43 points, and we don't know before how will be the journey. What will be the journey? So it's our journey. Try to win points when it's possible, and we'll see at the end.
Okay, lastly.
Okay.
One of your predecessors, Sam Allardyce, never stressed to his players in the week before Manchester United or Liverpool or Arsenal. He never mentioned the game. But against Wolves or Bolton or whoever, he was absolutely hyping them up all week. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think every manager has his own process, and so you can't be inspired by someone, but at the same time you have your own identity, your own process, your own way of working. So for me, every game is an opportunity, and try your best, be at your best to win this game, and we'll see at the end. Yeah, that's my mentality.
Scored a nice equaliser first win and slightly launched during the international break. I know this kind of press conferences touched on the pros and cons of the international break, but for such a young player like him, it must be quite good to get a goal and come back into this environment and kind of ride high with confidence, because I know he's kind of started the season in the starting position to come back to the bench. So how good is that for such a young player like him?
Yeah, the journey with the national teams is really important for that, I think, because it's a new context. They play against their own category, and it's because we can forget that Eliza is really young, okay, even if he has a good experience now with the squad. So it's important for him. He can get confidence, and He showed when he came off the bench good quality against Manchester United, so he's still connected with us. Yeah.
On Brian, obviously he must be chomping at the bit given a goal up front. How hard is it and difficult for you as a manager to, you know, when you're trying to keep him to get better ready to unleash him? How hard is it to manage that situation?
I think it's not hard because I try to be connected with everyone. So they have their own pathway. And for Brian, I have a specific conversation with him. I'll have another one with, I don't know, Wilson or Eliza, if we speak about our strikers. And I try to support them. I try to challenge them as well and to find the right balance and to create the better environment for their improvements. And I think at the minute we can feel that it's getting better, and now it's a question of opportunity.
And you mentioned earlier, you know, you want the importance of getting that second goal. Are you confident with the forwards you've got now? You've got enough fighting power.
I would like, because yeah, this league, if you are still on the edge with the quality of the players, they can find a solution from everywhere. So it was the case against Manchester United. We made one mistake and they punished immediately. So this league is like that. I'm not sure we'll have this insurance during the game, but I would like.
And just last one from me. You mentioned, you spoke about Luke earlier. You spoke about how important he is off the pitch, his character journey. But is he still got a massive part to play on the pitch? And can he make a big impact in the Premier League for Sunderland?
At the minute, we don't know. And but what we know that we need a full group and with a positive energy and everyone knowing his own role. Even if you don't play, you are important for the squad. And with positive vibes, the way you train every day, the standards you are setting, with this idea to get better every day. So Luke is like that. He's really positive. After that, he's versatile. He can play as center back, right, left. He can play as a full back, right, left. So I think he has the potential to help the squad. Sure.